Thank you. I've just been reminded to record. So yeah, so talking about the abundance mindset, and this is a brilliant quote from Marianne Williamson, because what it does is it gives us an understanding of what abundance mindset means right at the very start, which is so aligned with, you know, those of us that are in the world of change and transformation. That sense of unlimited thought, that sense of untapped potential and possibility, the Upopo reframe of VUCA, and the struggle. I think this quote really does poignantly illustrate the struggle that we have in change and transformation, because the unlimited mind meets the limited mind. And how do we approach that? Really, you know, I mean, if we think of I was reading a book yesterday, and this book quoted 95% of modern stroke digital projects or programs are forecast to fail because of the human factor. I mean, I remember back in my day when I started in project management, people talked about Gartner, the famous Gartner quote of 70% failure rates. Now there's a forecast of 95%. And we know it's not time, it's not budget, it's not vision, it's not strategy, it's not tech, it's not methodology, it's human. So what can we do about it? Well, one tiny element, hopefully, we are able to explore today. So it's really another interesting thing for me is, and I will confess to everybody, this is, you know, Confession Wednesday for Mel. I thought that the abundance mindset was coined in the world of esoterics, and, you know, the book The Secret and the movie The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, which was all about, you know, if you think about abundance, then you'll become, you know, rich and wealthy and healthy. But actually the abundance mindset was coined and first came into print and existence in the world of business and change and peak performance. It was Stephen Covey in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, who coined the concept of the abundance mindset versus the scarcity mindset. Yes, I think a lot of his work is founded on the philosophies and the writings of people like Napoleon Hill. Doesn't matter. Napoleon Hill, incredibly successful businessman, right? So the key thing here is I haven't gone all woo-woo on everybody, I promise you. So let's just remember that this is the stuff of business. This is the stuff of productivity. This is the stuff of success and performance. So the world of the abundant mindset, if we're thinking about an abundant mindset in terms of a leader, I think this is another really interesting thing, that it gives us an insight into the definition and the evidence of an abundant mindset. It's not just that we see things as infinite. It's not just that when things go wrong, we learn from it instead of fall down in a heap. It's that we move forward. So there's a very subtle but powerful element in understanding the abundance mindset, developing it and nurturing it in ourselves, and designing it into our change and transformation programs, which is about action. You can't just think it. You've also got to do something to move forward to make it so. And the abundant mindset leaders are those people that think the world is infinite and full of possibility. Everything is learning, and action is how we identify them. And the action bit is where a lot of people fall down, because they think that thinking, design, and strategy will be enough. And I have worked with many leaders, I don't know about you, who have actually been in a situation where they've said, I've shared the vision with them, Mel. You know, I've shared why isn't it happening? Why aren't we going anywhere? And we have to, as role models, demonstrate action in order for others to see us move forward. So really, really, really important for us to recognize that the abundance mindset is not just about thinking big, it's about taking the actions towards that place. So there is an opposite to an abundant mindset, and it's called a scarcity mindset. Now, the scarcity mindset, if we're thinking about our personal lives, can be, I'm not enough. You know, I will never be able to be that person over there, not from where I am here. I can't earn that amount of money because I don't have the skills to. I could never be that. That scarcity mindset in our own personal lives, that scarcity mindset is incredibly powerful in slowing down our change and transformation programs from a leadership perspective and from a user perspective. So what I've got here is I've just got a few words that look at the spectrum between the abundance mindset and the scarcity mindset. So the first thing, you know, how would we notice an abundant mindset versus a scarcity mindset in our team members, in our leaders, in our users? Because if we can see that there's a propensity for a scarcity mindset in the user mindset, the collective mindset, the culture, the community that we're trying to change or we're trying to help change, then we know instantly that there are certain techniques to employ. Sharing. When we've got an abundant mindset, we never think twice about sharing. And that's not just knowledge, that's also opportunity. It's so incredibly important. Whereas the scarcity mindset will own the knowledge. They'll give you a little bit of it, but they won't give you all of it. Do you know people like that? They'll just give you the things that they think you need to know. That's scarcity mindset. Sharing openly knowledge as well as opportunity. There's a beautiful case study of a guy who owned a mastermind business, really successful mastermind business. And he was working with one of the individuals in the mastermind who was trying to do a business that was kind of similar, a coaching business. And he was really struggling with it. So what he did was he took him out for a coffee and had a conversation with him and shared his business case and his business model with him. He shared his business model with a competitor because there's enough for all of us. His mindset was such that he's not going to take my piece of the pie. There's enough for everyone. Thinking about how we could apply that in a business environment, in change and transformation, that's really powerful. Clearly, that sense of being unlimited in terms of, you know, what is possible versus limited is really important for us in change and transformation, because the unlimited, abundant mindset won't think we've only got £100,000 for this project, therefore we can only work within the limitations of our budget of £100,000. Scarcity mindset. The abundant mindset would say we've got £100,000, and if we go and work with those people over there, or if we can create commercial opportunity out of that £100,000, they see beyond it, they don't see within it. That's the mindset shift. We don't see within the boundaries that are set within budget and time, we see beyond them. And that is key, the boundaries versus the boundary driven. The other thing I think that is really important is collaboration versus competition. If those of us that are in the private sector will kind of feel that this is more natural and easy, and those of us that might be in third sector and public sector might not think it's that applicable, but it is. Because I can tell you that there are so many people in public sector and private sector that have a competitive frame of mind. Because we are taught, we have been taught through our educational systems that everything is a competition. You win or you lose. You know, there is a right and there is a wrong. So even when we're in a non-competitive environment, we still think competitively. And a lot of that competitive mindset, that scarcity mindset, can be hidden. It can't be, it's not overt. And for us as practitioners, it's for us to be aware of it. So how can we see the subtleties of when a colleague of ours or a leader that is working with us, a social, a responsible owner of a transformation project, is actually operating with a competitive mind, therefore a scarcity mind, and what potentially can we do about it? Really, really important. And even though the abundant opposite of competition is collaboration, I ask you the question, have you been in a situation where people are saying, yeah, let's collaborate, like who do we need in this meeting and who should we collaborate with? And all of a sudden they say, oh, no, we don't need those over there. We don't need those people. These are the people that we need in this collaboration. All of a sudden we're setting boundaries. If you're going to collaborate, the doors should be open. We're working with an organization at the moment, and we're doing an open program for design for the department. And we're designing in the open. So there was a big conversation with the leaders, and it was a conversation on the working group, and it was a conversation about who should be on the design team. And I said, everybody. And they said, that's impossible, Mel. And I said, no, it's not. We'll design in the open. So we're going to design in the office, in the open space. And when people are going to the toilet, and when people are stopping, going for a cup of coffee or going out to lunch, they can walk past and they can sit down for 5 minutes. They can see what we're working on. They can partake in the conversation, and then they can go. And they can come and they can go, and it's open for everybody to be a part of. And everything that we work on is on the walls, and it's there for people to see and to go and have a look at after the fact. So thinking about being collaborative without boundaries is really important, because there's hidden scarcity mindset in there. The big thing is win-win, really, isn't it? Is that everybody wins out of this. And the abundant mindset is such that whatever I give to you, I know that I'm going to win out of it. There is always a win-win as opposed to a win-lose. Very, very much about grow versus protect. That's another one that I'll pick out of these, rather than going through each and every one of them. An abundant mindset has a propensity for growth. A scarcity mindset has a propensity to protect. Can you hear that in the words of your colleagues? Can you hear that in the words of the leaders around you? If they are protective, that means they're in scarcity mindset. What can we do about it in order to try and help them to adopt that abundance mindset? Really interesting, isn't it? Just to start to see the two against each other. One thing that I will say that is really important for us to recognize as practitioners in change and transformation is this. Mindset is something that we opt into over time. We have choice. We might not think we have choice, but at some point in the trajectory, mindset is choice. And it's just that over time, over repeated time, it's become who we are. And we might feel that we don't have any choice anymore. If we've got a scarcity mindset, but we do. Mindset is all about choice. It's not about circumstance. It's, the conditions in the environment around us do not dictate our choice. We still have choice. That's a really tough thing to get our head around. But if we are able to get our head around that statement in the world of change and transformation, it is quite amazing what it opens up. Because what it opens up is our ability to work with people who have an inability to see beyond the problem. It is our ability to work with people that have a lack of curiosity. It is our ability to work with people that feel and demonstrate anxiety and stress. It is our ability to work with people that don't openly share and have transparency. If we can understand that and cultivate that sense of choice and mindset commitment in ourselves, and recognize that nothing is all about the circumstance, that we have control over those, all the way up to policy and legislation. If we vote, there's a hierarchy to this, of course. The key thing alongside that is to recognize that inability to see beyond a problem, lack of curiosity, anxiety and stress, lack of transparency, if we've got any of that happening in our change or transformation program, we're slowing it down. And humanizing transformation is about accelerating success. So we know that we've got a mindset shift that we want to be working on. If if what you're seeing on the slide here is something that you are experiencing, then it's mindset shift work that is going to support you, and not process work, not more communication. It is actually mindset work that is going to support you. Otherwise, your change and transformation will, based on research, statistics, and probability, slow down if it hasn't already. So really powerful stuff. What I wanted to do is I wanted to share with everybody this. This is an extract out of a blog that was written by a gentleman called Jonathan Westover. And Jonathan Westover is he's a consultant like you and me, and he's out in the world trying to, help organizations and teams get to peak performance or change or transformation. And he works within the higher education sector. And it is incredibly powerful, where you see, as he goes through his blog, him sharing with you the evidence of the scarcity mindset versus the abundant mindset in his customer environments, and what happens as a result. So I've actually got the blog there, and I just love it. It's a fantastic blog, and it's a fairly recent. It's only a year or two old, but do have a look at the blog and just read it, because it, for me, what I like doing is I like getting people to write their stories. So what's your story? What's your version of this blog in your change project at the moment, in your transformation project at the moment? Can you write the story of what you are evidencing in people around you, or even yourself, in terms of the scarcity versus the abundant mindset? So story writing and getting that narrative out is a really, really powerful thing to do. There is something that the world of positive psychology and neuroscience are now talking about in the world of change and transformation, which is called the intentional abundance mindset. So whether we are naturally inclined towards it or not, if we are working in business, if we are working toward productivity, to difference, to change and transformation, then we should commit ourselves to fostering an intentional abundance mindset. And what are some of the things that we can do to do that? Really simple things, right? Really, really simple things. Be curious. We might say that we are curious, but actually, are we actively demonstrating curiosity in our organization, in our conversations, or are we just saying that we like the idea of being curious? So everything that I've got here is about what that very first quote. It's not about thinking that we are. It's about really holding ourselves to account for actioning these things in our change and transformation, in our conversations, and also when it might be a little bit uncomfortable. We might, exercise the what if with somebody that is so senior, and somebody that might even be quite daunting to us, scary even, but still seeing if we can lean in. Celebrating the success of other people, not just ourselves. So looking to who might be bordering on competitive in the mindsets of the people around you, and bring their success in and start talking about it. Because what you will do there is not only will you foster your abundant mindset, you will start breaking down the scarcity mindset of the people that you're working with and around. Really, that's a celebrate others' success is a very, very interesting one. Collaborate with the enemy. And again, as I say, this isn't just for private sector, this is for public sector and third sector as well. We do have organizations and teams and, systems that we believe are competitive. And what we want to do is we want to collaborate. Collaborate with the enemy is a really powerful statement that comes up time and again in the research of abundant mindset development, is collaboration with the enemy. Strengthen your stop muscle. This is something that I was talking about just earlier with a group of practitioners, is that when we're in the world of mindset shift, what we're 99% of the time, we're moving from negative to positive. We're moving from improvement to transformation. We're moving from fixed to growth. We're moving from scarcity to abundance. But the way that our brain is wired is we can't just go from the limbic brain to the new neural pathway. We can't go from the old neural pathway to the new neural pathway. We actually have to come out of our brain to come back into our brain. And that's why when we recognize that we are maybe thinking in a with a scarcity mindset, the key thing is to stop, to name it, to call it, to be aware of it, but to stop. And then what we can do is we can reframe. So it's really, really important for us to strengthen that stop muscle, which is something we don't do in the world of change and transformation. We're running at 1,000 miles an hour and we've got to get that thing done by the end of the day. And I've been on 5 Zoom calls already, Mel, and it's 9 o'clock in the morning. You know, it's kind of like everything feels like it's getting faster and faster and back to back. Focusing on value and not problem. That's another thing. Isn't that interesting? Where, you know, design thinking, you got to identify the problem. You got to, where's the problem? Where's the wicked problem? Focus on the problem. Yeah, but actually abundance mindset focuses on the value, focuses on the value contribution, focuses on the value of addressing the problem, not just sitting on the problem. So always value driven. Making learning a habit, super, super important. Don't make it something that you need to do when the skill is in deficit. We do not want learning to be something that addresses deficit, which is far too often the case in change and transformation. What we want to do is we want to make learning a habit, and it should be a prerequisite right at the very start. How do we do that? If we role model that within ourselves as change agents and project managers, great. Then that means that will ripple out to other people around us. Working out loud is something that I've talked about so often, so many times. It is so powerful in fostering an intentional, abundant mindset, because when you're working out loud, you are giving, you are giving, you are giving, you are creating abundance around you. It's so important. Leaning in to grow is another very, very important element. Surrounding yourself with other abundance mindsets. We might not feel it is possible when we're in a team environment where we've got a leader or a manager that might be scarce of mind, but actually we can still, to support ourselves to cope with that, we can really focus on surrounding ourselves with positive mindsets. Do we do that? Have we got enough abundance and positive mindset around us? Because if we haven't, then we should. And that's one commitment that I would love everybody to take away with them today, because, you know, the world is bordering on moving from complexity to complex. The AI wars are upon us already, right? Being grateful and being present. A little bit like, you know, making learning a habit and that strengthening that stop muscle. Being grateful and being present. Reminding ourselves to say thank you. Reminding ourselves of the value that we're bringing. Reminding ourselves of the value of that person being on Zoom with me right here, right now. And also making sure that I'm not bringing the baggage of yesterday's conversation or even the Zoom I've just come on into this. So being grateful and being present are very, very, very important. And the obvious, turning negatives into positives. If we just have got something tiny in each one of these areas that we are able to commit to, what we are doing is fostering what is called the intentional abundant mindset. And that will have a ripple effect on everybody around us, because it is absolutely like positive relational energy. It is contagious. What I've also done here is I've just shared with you, these are not my words, this is not my my narrative, but again, in the notes of the slides, I've got the source material. This is abundance mindset is very popular with entrepreneurs. It's very popular in startup leadership programs and so on and so forth. We talk about the abundance mindset a lot when we're mentoring entrepreneurs, when we're mentoring startups, or also when a startup is ready to scale, which is a very, very, very different stage of business. We often talk about intentional abundance mindset. And these are some of the things that we bring into conversations with leaders. And if you think about a leader that is in startup, they're in change. When you think about a leader that is moving from startup to scale, that's transformation, right? So it's still the same as anything that we might be thinking. Looking at cost as investment, thinking not in terms of incremental, but in exponential. That's the transformational mindset instead of improvement mindset. Transaction becomes transformation. Gosh, you know, these words I see so often in change and transformation on the left-hand side, and thinking, gosh, you know, this organization has got an intention and a motivation to transform, and yet their narrative is all on the left-hand side of this slide. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I love clients and customers become multipliers. I love that one. And I love that because I would expand that. It's not just clients and customers, it's suppliers, it's stakeholders. Yeah, we can put so much in there, and everybody becoming multipliers. Really, really interesting. And I won't go through each and every one of them because of time on today's session, but just looking at what we can see here is just, you know, is there a way that we can go to a change or a transformation document, strategy paper, a report, a PowerPoint presentation, and just go and revisit the narrative and see whether we can turn the narrative into intentionally abundant narrative to support transformation? Interesting, huh? So what is the process? What is the process if we ourselves want to foster an intentional abundant mindset, or if we feel that we have someone on our team, or we want to work with somebody to shift them from scarcity to abundance? And these are the 4 steps. Step number 1 is awareness. Being aware of the scarcity neuron. What is the neural pathway that defines that scarcity behavior? So what's the neural pathway? When is it happening? Where is it happening? Who is it happening to or from? Why is it happening? And that allows you to understand it. You've got to understand it first, because that is awareness. Awareness is understanding. Once you understand it, you've got your trigger. And then what you do is you create the break moment, the stop that I mentioned earlier on. How do you stop? You stop by doing 2 things. You stop by taking a few seconds to refocus on either one of your 5 senses or your body. That's what stop is. So you just take a few seconds to smell oh my God, I've just smelt the coffee in my cup, and I've been drinking it for the last half an hour. I've just smelt it. That momentary shift to smelling that coffee has just, for a moment, just stopped that neuron, that particular neural pathway firing. It's that simple. Or looking at a tree, the visual sense, or listening to the silence in the room, or the noise in the room, auditory sense. Another thing you can do is focus on the body. Focus on your fingertips. A great one is relaxing the outside and the inside of your throat. Have you ever tried doing that? Really, really, really important for leaders. Yeah, so relax, so you become conscious of the skin on the outside of your throat, and then you relax it. And then you become conscious of the inside of your throat, and then you relax it. Another thing that you can do is you can rub 2 fingers together until all of a sudden you sense that you can feel the ridges of your skin. Done. Those techniques are scientifically proven to stop the firing of the neural pathway. And once we've done that, we're ready. We're out of the room. We're out of the bedroom. We can now move in to the bathroom. So we can reframe that new neural pathway. We can shift our perspective. We can see the opportunity instead of the challenge. And that's all this is all about. And point number 4 is simply repeat, because practice makes progress. If we do it once, we've done something once, we've taken an action. But if we actually want to become something in an identity, it needs to be repeated and consistent. Repeat. Be aware, stop, reframe, repeat. That's how we shift mindset, actually, believe it or not. That's the simplicity of shifting mindset. I I've mentioned briefly already that the abundant mindset is very, very closely linked to other mindsets that we will have heard and have talked about in previous sessions. Obviously, Carol Dweck's growth versus fixed mindset, and of course, the Dilyn Way's improvement versus transformation mindset. So we've got a lot of literature, we've got a lot of work and a lot of practice, support and techniques to support us to build and foster that abundance mindset. I think one of the other things that's really important as well is that there is an area of positive mindset work that I'll talk about in a moment as well. But just before I do, as always, we're on record. So I just want to let everybody know that everything that we talk about every Wednesday in the world of humanizing transformation is driven through the framework and approach of practice. And that is the 3 tenets, 5 profiles, mindsets and principles. We have the practice indicators that support us. You can hear them in all of the examples that I give. We have practitioner and foundational programs that are available. We've got our new schedule coming out at the end of this month. So if anybody would like to learn a little bit more about what certification training looks like in terms of becoming a foundation certified or practitioner certified, then do let me know. Or equally, just take advantage of having a wee hour, just you and me, on strategy, talking about where you're at, where you want to go, and how you might potentially even get there using some of the techniques that we have in the framework and approach. And that is absolutely pro bono, and there's certainly no required output from that. It's just an ability for you to get a little bit of value on your own leadership. But summary now. So let's bring today's session to summary. Scarcity mindset is something that we adopt. We have the choice to change it. Just, you know, whatever the challenge that people give us in our world of change and transformation, they have a choice. It's how do we open their eyes toward that? And our role modeling of abundance mindset is so important. So focus on developing our own intentional abundance mindset. It is contagious. Remember what I said, it is contagious. Action is as important as the thought. That is part of the definition of abundance. Abundance is a mindset is not just about seeing things beyond boundary. It's about taking action towards breaking boundaries. And that's where people go wrong. And it's not Pollyanna. It's not about shaking the maracas of the world is a beautiful place. It's taking in the realities of now, you know, it's the reality and moving beyond it. So it's really important for us to understand that it's not a little bit of hippie shake at all. All of the statistics show that intentional abundance mindset accelerates transformation. Why are we not investing in it right at the very start? It accelerates transformation when we invest and foster intentional abundance mindset at the start. And really important for us to recognize that it is intentional. So we do have to do the work. It's not just a one-off. It's something that we need to think about as practice, to think about as part of our identity. Really, really, really important. If you have time, if anything that I've talked about today has piqued some interest or motivated you, then there are 2 areas that I suggest that you go and have a look at. In terms of your own practice as a leader, then you can go and visit the work of Shizhad Karmeen out of Stanford, and the work that he does on positive intelligence. So PQ, we have emotional intelligence, we have EQ, we have IQ, we have cognitive intelligence, we have RQ, which is relational intelligence. But what seemingly is appearing is that PQ, positive intelligence, is driving greater results. Driving greater results. So go and have a look. And if you are wanting to think about this abundance mindset in your team or in the design of change and transformation as a project or program, then I would suggest that you start to look at the work of Kim Cameron and positive relational energy. Of course, those two are techniques that we use within our framework. But if there's something that you want to go and have a look at now, these two techniques, I would really, really support you to go and have a look at. We've got two of our practitioners that are, one of our practitioners that's training on positive intelligence, and another one that is hopefully going into train soon. So really, really, really interesting world for us right now at the start. And just finally, banana skins, forgetting that there is a ripple effect. It's, you know, whoever we are, whatever we do, whatever we say is a ripple effect. It's a law of nature. It's the second law. It's the second law that Newton gave us, isn't it? Cause and effect. And the second banana skin for me is being vigilant around scarcity. It is important for us to be on the lookout for it, because oftentimes, and I am as guilty as the next person, oftentimes we are triggered by scarcity mindset in others, and it's at the end of the day, or it was that conversation last week is when we've recognized it. So really being vigilant and being aware of that scarcity mindset is super, super, super important. So there we go. That brings me to the end of today's session to introduce, or maybe thank you to Stephen Covey, to reintroduce the power, the real, like the power of fostering an intentional abundance mindset in change and transformation projects, increased productivity, increased performance, accelerated shift in change and transformation. Those three indicators out of intentional abundance mindset. Why are we not understanding this and investing in this in our projects and programs right at the very start? Who knows? Well, hopefully a little bit of today might be motivating and sparking you to do just that. We're literally just on coming up to 1:45, which is brilliant. So I'm just going to put things out there in the open and just see whether there are any thoughts. Otherwise, if you would like to be gifted 15 minutes before you head into back-to-back meetings, hopefully not for the day, then I wish you a fantastic Wednesday and a great weekend when it arrives. But otherwise, I'm going to stop the record button, wish everybody on replay good health and abundance, and I'll stop the record and I'll stay around for the next 5 minutes just to see if there are any open